Well, hello.
Good morning or afternoon. It's not morning. It's 2:00. Sheesh. Weirdo. Hi, friends.
what's going on, everybody? Before we officially start the show, why don't you let them know what's on your feet right now?
So I have this running joke that I think Birkenstocks are the ugliest shoes on the planet. And I think even people that wear them religiously know that they're fugly, right? I don't think there's any argument. They're fugly. So we were in our little chat today talking with our friends Laura and Liz and talking about how Liz threw out her back tying her shoes, and we were joking about old lady-itis, and this is what happens when we get old. Shit happens, you know, things fall apart, you wake up, you sneeze, your back's thrown out for a week. It's lovely, isn't it? So she said, that's it. I'm not wearing any other shoes other than Birkenstocks with socks lately. So we were joking about that. So now I have Birkenstocks with socks on my feet because I actually own a pair. But
they're like the
if you know me,
those actually are really bad.
They're pretty bad. They're really ugly. But if you know me, the funny thing about it is that they have bling on them. Like, how many times have you seen Birkenstocks with? And I did not put that on there.
I said, like, why do you even have those? Like, you can just throw them away if you hate them so much. Yeah, she's wearing them
because they are actually fairly comfortable to wear in the house. I will not wear these in public, and of course with socks, so I don't slide around.
Speaking of Alexis, we're going to see her tomorrow.
It is very lesbian of me, Sandra. Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah, we're gonna go check out the Subarus later. Anyway, I think it. Yeah, why aren't you selling them?
I don't know, because they're kind of comfortable to wear around the house. But I probably could sell them. So Alexis is coming to visit for a couple of days. She arrives tomorrow, so she's always fun to hang out with, and she makes me laugh every time because her dry, sarcastic humor just cracks me up. I love that. So those are my lovely Birkenstocks.
Indeed. Anyway, so yeah, it's Sunday. It's super overcast outside. I don't know why. It's been windy.
It's because someone's coming to visit.
I mean, we had a couple of days where it was like 70s outside, like really nice and warm, but I don't know.
Well, anyway. And it was supposed to be really nice yesterday. It was okay, but we went to meet our friend Danny, and we went to go do the Wizard of Oz experience here in town. It's like this whole virtual reality thing, but the way it's advertised, it is really not that. You had to actually
read it, whereas Vicky doesn't pay attention. Vicky has a tendency to she'll look at something and just be like, okay, I know what it is. And
I want to go to that.
And she doesn't look any further into it. And it's like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, cool, Wizard of Oz. And I'm like, And then I realized it was just like, it's like a thing on an app.
It was like Pokemon Go on an app, but in a specific area that you had to use. So, it was just pretty cheesy. Thankfully, we got to have a good late lunch out of the deal because all three of us were like, yeah, this is kind of lame. I think it could have been fun if you were doing it with kids.
With kids, for sure.
You're walking around, you're answering the questions. You know, you get about 2 miles of a walk in, which is nice outside. It just was a little overcast and spitting rain all afternoon. But
yeah, and then we came home and we did karaoke last night, which was really fun.
By ourselves in our own house.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
We amuse ourselves, that's for sure.
Listen, these days it's awesome because you can pretty much find any karaoke song on the YouTube.
It's true.
And, with the way they make the smart TVs now, the big giant, you don't even need to have like a sound system. You just turn it up on your TV. And then we have like a little, I bought she wanted like a whole karaoke get up. I was like, I'll just get an amp and a microphone. Like, you don't really need...
Well, it's a professional Fender amp.
But it was like $50. You don't need, like, a karaoke machine because it's all there for you. So, anyway, we were having lots of fun.
And we like to have people over. We didn't last night, but I'd like to have people over to come and do karaoke, too.
You don't need to make excuses. We get to be home alone doing karaoke by ourselves. You're like, we got to make sure they know we have friends.
No, I was saying this is why it's nice to have a system because we like to have people over. I mean, I can just turn the radio on and sing to anybody or nobody. There's no problem with that. But
Turtlebug Inc. Congratulations
on the baby. I wish we could share photos in the chat because I'm all about babies. I love all the babies. I love my friends that have kids and babies and grandkids and grandbabies because I love seeing that on the social media because I love babies. I love kids.
Indeed.
And got Vasquez Vintage in the chat too. Hello.
Sandra, we were supervised by the dogs, okay? They kept an eye on us, and Grizz said, I'm glad I've pretty much gone deaf at this point. So
Grizz is very, very lucky.
She didn't have to actually listen to it. Although, I would like to point out that, so I kicked it off. Vicky was doing stuff upstairs, and I was down there just, like, setting it up and singing. And I started singing to Luna, and she got up. She's our little chubby chihuahua. And for some reason, she decided that it was the coolest thing ever that I was singing to her, because she stood up and she was listening and staring at me, and then her tail just started going crazy while I was singing to her. It was really cute.
Yeah, we still do our Sunday show. This is our little toes, still dipping into the social media world. It's really just to stay connected with people. I think you guys all know, we've said it many times, we make no money on this. We are baby YouTubers. We have not grown one iota in 4 years. We still have 11,000 followers and just probably 1,000 views a week.
That's good enough.
So we enjoy this just to stay connected with our community and our friends and share with, information and knowledge and our journeys and struggles that everyone else has. So speaking of sharing with our community.
Yeah, so before we get into the rest of our show, we talked about this last week. We're not going to dwell on it for too long. This week, we just wanted to give you guys an update. But last week, we had set up a GoFundMe for our friend Lorna, who is part of the reseller community. She's my oldest, or my longest in-person reseller friend. I met her before I met anybody else.
Including me.
And so we did a GoFundMe because of her cancer diagnosis and just helping her with her bills and whatnot. And our first goal, which was $5,000, I think we reached it in less than 5 days.
We met it in 4 days.
In 4 days. I'm going to go ahead. Let me share the screen here. Yeah, so I was like, raise the goal. I mean, we wanted to have a starting point, but this is going to be a long journey for her, and 5,000 is a huge help, but it's not like.
First of all, thank you, because
absolutely
that $5,000, just over $5,000, at 100% of the donors except one came from our reseller community and our personal friends, many of whom don't even know Lorna. So I did want to acknowledge that. I also want to acknowledge that Clara from List Perfectly did make a very large donation of $1,000. She does know Lorna, but also, whatever you may want to say about whatever cross-posting service you use or you don't use, nobody can deny the fact that Clara and Amanda are very generous, extremely generous in this reseller community. So we appreciate that support.
Absolutely. Also, just already, so this has only been the 1 week. And already, Lorna was able, I think, would you say she paid up to like 40, she's 45 days ahead now as far as all of her bills go?
Paying some, yeah, and that's not using all the money. It's no. It's just, here's the reality, and we'll just talk about it briefly this time, because we did go into it far more in depth last week. If you want to go back and review the show, it was at the beginning of the show that we talked about it. Or read what's on it. But, Lorna is someone that has been a reseller and a full-time reseller for several years now. She's one of the first friends that I made in the reselling community as well. I've known her a little bit longer than Katy. And she actually helped me plan and was present for the proposal for Katy. She was out here with us with her boyfriend. So she lives in a very, very small town. It is very difficult to find work there. And once you find something, you kind of stay because it's that small. Yeah. Her boyfriend lost his job a little over a year ago and has since found another job, but it's not the same amount of money he was making before. So he's working harder for less money. And Lorna lost her job in December, right after her cancer diagnosis. They let her go, and it was just a part-time job. She was supplementing her reselling income because, as we all know, reselling has been a much harder struggle in the last year or two.
Now, they did keep her as long as they possibly could, like nothing against the company.
They did. They're struggling as well, and they kept her paid for like 6 weeks after she actually was unable to work. Yeah. So no knock. It is what it is. So, the reality is that it is very difficult for her to even maintain her very, very modest expenses. Groceries and keeping the lights on and the heat and everything like that. She is in an excruciating pain. She is, it is terminal cancer. We are hoping, and I say we because those of us that love her as well as her, we are hoping that with the extensive treatments that she's undergoing, that it will extend her lifespan and help alleviate some of the pain. So that she can function and enjoy the time she has left and spend time doing and seeing her friends and loved ones. Yeah. So Anyway, all this to say thank you very much for your donations. I don't care if it's $10 or $15 or several of you have donated more than that. This money is 100% just helping to relieve some of that day-to-day stress. Yeah. She is not having to try and work 10 hours a day when she needs to be resting.
Well, especially like right now. I mean, hopefully the treatments she's been on and the stuff she's going to be able to start relatively soon, as far as like bone injections, I think is what it is. Right now she's at the peak of her pain. When she finally gets to do some of the treatment, hopefully she's going to get to where she is feeling better. And, she likes reselling. So it's not that she doesn't, want to have to work or anything like that, but she can do it and not be like feeling awful. So
there are times where she can't function. We all know what it's like to be in pain or to be sick and not be able to work or want to work. Well, this is her day-to-day existence. She's operating at a pain level that most of us cannot imagine right now. And she just can't do it. Her body is tired.
So right now to be able to kind of like take a step back from that and like breathe and not feel like so stressed that like, oh my God, in 2 days, this money is going to come out of my account.
I mean, even $700 or $800 a month is enough to help her feel like she's not drowning. So that $5,000 is actually going to go a long way. 5 to 6 months of her being able to breathe. She does also do my cross posting for me just because I want to be able to give her a little bit of something every week too. And it's something she can do easily from home and keep her mind occupied. So, anyway, all that to say, thank you very much. Please continue to donate if you're able to. We are not going to harp on it every single week, but in a couple of months or so, we'll probably revisit this conversation because the needs are not going anywhere.
We just wanted to let everybody know that we met that goal.
We met the first initial goal, so thank you.
Happy about that.
Thank you, everybody, for their contributions. It really matters a lot to us, and it matters more to Lorna than you can imagine.
Absolutely. So. Okay, so getting back to our regular show, we break it up into 3 parts. The first part, we look at our real numbers for the last week, everything that we brought in across all of our platforms. Then we break down some of the costs, like the fees and our shipping, and most importantly, our cost of goods. And the middle part of the show, we look at our sales highlights for the week. I think we got some cool, interesting stuff that we sold this week. And then the last part of the show, we talk about kind of what we were able to accomplish last week, if we met the goals that we set last week, or if we failed miserably. And then we talk about like what we kind of want to do this next week and beyond that. See if we can set some new goals, talk about, what's been going well, what we're struggling with. And of course, we always invite you guys to participate in that in the chat and in the comments down below. It always helps to feel kind of accountable, put it out there into the universe, what you're trying to do, and hopefully that will help you a little bit.
For sure.
Let's go ahead and get into the first part here. We are going to start with Vikki this week. And some of you guys know what that means, and I'm sorry.
Oh, you beat me in sales this week? Yeah. Let's just say it's not that difficult these days. Honestly, I'm doing the best that I can. I really don't have any other answers other than that. I'm working.
I don't know what's happening with eBay.
I'm working very hard for very little return. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I've had the conversation that I feel like I don't know if I should be a reseller full time anymore. It's been, well over a year now of very, very disappointing sales. No matter what I do and how I change things up, my sales are still good on other platforms, but they're really, really struggling on eBay. And eBay, as you know, is the bulk of most people's income because it's the largest audience. So I've really been thinking a lot about going back into working full time, although I would hate to do that, and keeping this as my side hustle. I can still make $100,000 on the side. I just need to.
It's tough because I don't know what's up with eBay. Because like I had a decent week on eBay, but I also had like multiple days that were just like terrible. Little to zero sales. And I know a lot of people saw that like they had changed like the whole picture gallery when you're in the listing form on eBay, and then all of a sudden and obviously that change was meant to happen. I hate it. I don't like the tiny little pictures. But then also people noticed that the whole left side navigation had completely disappeared. And that was what, if you were trying to look at people's stores, like if you want to look and see what they sold stuff for, or just in general for a lot of the search, that left side navigation was just gone. So like if you search for a t-shirt, you couldn't
dial by brand, condition, size, gender, any of that. So, and also the messaging system was was sporadically working back and forth. If you were trying to reply or send offers or talk to a customer, I wasn't personally affected by that I'm aware of, but I did see many, many posts about it and screenshots. So it is confirmed that it was not just a isolated incident. And then the other issue that was happening was, A lot of people were having difficulty making payments. So those of us that have been around eBay for a long time know that whenever there's a major change on the site itself, and they're doing multiple changes, it feels like right now, the major changes absolutely affect all of the back processes.
It's like they overlooks that, like, oh, if we do this, it's going to affect this over here. And so then there's like days.
And each different department works in a silo. And unfortunately, kind of like with Picture Palooza a few years ago when all the pictures disappeared, that was the matter of one division not speaking to the other division, and it screwed stuff up. So anyway, it's been, you know, it is what it is. It's been a bit of a hot mess for a while. So we're doing our best. I think we're all doing our best to try to pivot and change and add and subtract things that are necessary. And
the show today is called Maintaining the Momentum. And we'll talk more about it at the end. But part of that is, you know, particularly when your sales are not where you need them to be, or when they're really down, or you're just like super stressed out, it makes it really hard to kind of keep that momentum going as far as the work that you need to be putting into your business. And we'll talk about that more later, but you want to...
I will share my paltry sales. 22 orders on eBay, full on pathetic. 11 on Etsy. Etsy was a good week. 5 on Poshmark. Poshmark is still shit for me. 2 on Mercari, for a total of 40 outgoing orders. My eBay gross sales, $975.
That's crazy. I don't even know when last time...
I can't even tell you the last time I hit 3,000 or 4,000.
That was me almost every single week last year. I felt lucky when I actually was almost to $1,000.
Yeah.
But you generally are like far above that. So
I don't even know how to, it is what it is. So 516 on Etsy, 254 on Poshmark, 94 on Mercari, for a total of 1839 gross for the week. Shipping $155, and then you see the breakdown of all the other fees. My cost of goods is still low. I'm still able to acquire items for a really good amount. I'm really good at my acquisition costs, and we all know that the return is usually in the buy, but the shit has to sell to actually realize that return. Anyway, so my total net sales, $1,384. That is a solid $1,500 less than they need to be weekly for me. So my gross average sale price, I do like to keep it around $50. I was accepting almost every offer this week, so that would be why I have a lot of low ones. And I got nothing good to say about any of it.
It's just, I don't know if it's like because of the categories you're in, and I know like one of the things is like you've been, you know, have you gotten into like really listing hard goods again?
Yeah, I have done some. Hard goods. Here's the thing. I've had 2 to 3 major buyouts in the last 6 months that I've done to obtain great inventory, but it is all clothing. So my clothing is taking precedence to get it all listed and working for me. So I'm not doing as much of, I haven't sourced a lot because I haven't needed to by getting, you know, these big bulk buys, but I really do need to get out there, and I'll do some this week because Alexis will be here.
I tried to get her to go to the bins with me, guys. I was like, this is on Thursday night. I'm like, I'm going to go to the bins in the morning. If you want to come with me, you should. And she said, I'll see how I feel in the morning. And the alarm went off at 6:30. And I, you know, when my alarm goes off, I always pop right up and I want to get going. And she was like, I'm not awake. She like managed to gain consciousness just enough to say, I'm not awake.
Yeah, I do need to mix some more hard goods in. I do recognize that and realize that. So, you know, all of the stuff that I have in the house is photographed. I've been slowly adding. I tend to do like 5 hard goods a day and like 15 to 20 of in clothing. So to get all the items listed. But
Tuesday and Wednesday morning, we're going with Alexis to the bins and we're getting you hard goods.
All right.
Because the thing is, like, you know, Vicky and I both around the same time. In fact, she started like a couple weeks before me, I think. Have been doing the, you know, listing consistently every single day on eBay, and I have not missed a single day since November 12th. You, I think, missed 2 days total. One day since even before then. And I have seen results from that, and so it's.
And I have not.
I know, that's my whole point. That's where I'm trying to go with this, and I'm not sure what that is. Other than I do sell different things than Vicky does for the most part.
But you do only sell in the same category.
I've drastically changed my pricing. I will say I think that has a big part. That has a big piece for me.
I have as well.
but you have as well. So it's like it's hard because I'm seeing like the work I'm putting in. It's been slow. It's been a slow process, but I am seeing the results happening, and so it's frustrating, obviously for you, that the same is not happening. So here's mine: 28 eBay orders, 11 Etsy, 10 Poshmark. 5 between Grill, Macari, and Depop. So I went over 50. I think this is maybe the high. I might have had a 55 once. So 54. So I'm listing 70 new items to eBay every week. There is, as I keep doing that, basically my inventory keeps growing very slowly. There is going to come a point where, based on my sell-through rate or whatever, where I am going to hit that reseller magic moment where I will be selling 70 a week and listing 70 a week. I haven't hit it yet, but it is crawling up there. So eBay, $1,413.51. It's like the best I've had on eBay in a very, very long time. Etsy, decent, $658.08. Poshmark almost hit $400, $396. Grill and Macari, Depop, meh. I mean, the three of them are pretty negligible. I mean, it's I'll take the money, but that's 3 platforms, and that's what I'm getting out of it. Total gross sales, $2,695.59.
That's a really good week for you.
It is.
I mean, it's a good week for me right now if I'm going to hit that. So
it is, but for me, it's like, so it's so far it's been working. I am nervous about what the summer's going to be like, but we'll see. $195.12 for shipping. And that's the other thing is it's like, 10 Poshmark orders. I got to say, I'm loving my life as a Posh twat. It's awesome. It's twat-tastic because that's 10 items that I didn't have to buy labels for. Now, obviously, I do buy the labels because I'm giving them 20%. But still, it's nice to just like, you give them your 20%, they give you a label, and then you don't have to worry about it. With clothing especially, it's super easy to just pack it up in a priority mailer, and you're good to go. So, anyway, and you can see the breakdown of all my fees.
Right, and Lori's like, yeah, look how much lower your cost of goods used to be too. So.
I know. $125 for cost of goods. My net sales, I actually am just over 2,000. Very excited about that. And then my gross average sale price, I have been, I say like, I used to be like, oh, my goal is to hit 70 and above for gross average sale price. Well, that's not going to happen with the way I'm doing it now. But I am glad that I almost hit 50. Like, I sold stuff this week, you guys, for $16. Like, I had the this dead new with tags Dolly Parton t-shirt. It wasn't vintage at all. I got it for $2 from yesterday's fits. I sold it for $16 on Poshmark, and so basically I cleared like just over $10. But I made money on it, and it really didn't take me. What?
I was just gonna say that. Yeah. Hi, Danica. I miss your face, honey. But I'm not against the reseller compound. I think maybe we could probably buy the Clown Motel right outside of Vegas pretty cheaply, and have a reseller compound a la Schitt's Creek.
Yep. But I used to be like, there's no way I would pick something up that I was planning on selling for $20 or less. And I still don't want to do that a lot, but you know what? If I get it and I think it's something that's worthwhile, it's like I need it. I gotta sell some shit, guys. So so far it's working. And then you see my net average sale price, $37.75. So I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. I hope I keep going in the same direction.
I hope you do too, because remember when you used to call me like your sugar mama? I think the roles are going to have to reverse.
I mean,
you're going to have to become my sugar
mama.
So.
The only problem is we've always paid in equally to the bills, so I'm not really sure when that sugar mama status ever worked out for me coming from your direction, lady.
I mean, I don't know.
Anyway, all right, so that's it for that. Hold on, so click on this. Anyway, I will say, Vicky, you had like all those returns and stuff that happened and just the difficulty with eBay. I had an amazing, not returns,
negative
feedback. Negative feedback. So first of all, I went like 3+ years with 100% positive feedback. I went for years, and then I got a negative feedback, just this, beginning of the last fall. And it was stupid. And I figured out that it was pretty clear that the buyer had bought something on mobile where you cannot see the condition description at all. There is a way to get to it, but it's not
intuitive.
Well, yeah, you don't see it right there. It should be like right on the main screen. Anyway, so they had gotten something that was pretty worn and faded, which was completely disclosed and in the photos, but they were not happy, but whatever. They never responded to any messages from me, and I couldn't do anything about it. Well, this time...
And you offer free returns, and it didn't matter.
Well, that too. This time, basically, I had sold this guy a t-shirt, which said it was worn and faded, which said it was discolored, which said it was slim vintage fit, had the measurements, had the close-up pictures of bleach marks and the fades and everything. And he messaged me to say he was very disappointed with my misrepresentation, blah, blah. I basically tried to make it sound like I had tricked him into buying this thing for too much money. And he said, I will refrain from a negative feedback until tomorrow morning. Like, I was supposed to respond and be like, oh my God,
no,
let me just give
don't.
you your money back. And so I just responded, and I was very nice. And I was like, I'm so sorry that you aren't happy with your shirt. I go there, I did disclose that it was worn and faded and discolored in the description. And I had pictures that showed the bleach, because he specifically talked about the bleaching. And I said, but I do have free returns, so you are welcome to send it back, and I will be happy to refund you in full when I get the t-shirt back. And he didn't respond to me. And then the next morning he did respond to me, and he said, you reap what you sow. And I'm like, all right, 5. Yeah, you reap what you sow. And then I was like 5, 4, 3. And then I went and refreshed, and there, sure enough, was negative
There
feedback.
was your donut.
Yep. And, but you know
donuts.
what? Huh?
I said, donuts.
But yeah, he was definitely a douche canoe, Sandra. But I was like, if he had just left me the negative feedback, I would not have been able to get it removed, because it was entirely,
Subjective
his
interpretation.
his opinion, and there's nothing you can really do about that. And that's kind of where eBay stands about that kind of stuff. But he really just wanted to threaten me, and specifically say he was going to leave negative feedback if he didn't get the result he wanted. And then he had his little, you reap what you sow. And so it was removed.
Okay, Don Corleone.
Now, Vicky this is the good advice that Vicky did give me, is don't even bother calling eBay or going through their little automated request thing.
Or the fake
like
concierge. By the way, concierge,
Yeah.
people keep arguing with me about this, but I know for an absolute fact that concierge has been dismantled.
Yeah.
It will still say you have concierge, and you may still be getting a little bit of elevated service, but it is going away entirely if you have not lost it.
But you don't want to reply to the feedback. You don't want to do anything. You want to contact eBay for Business and start there and see if they can help you. And
Through Facebook.
And Mario from eBay for Business was able to help me, and he did get rid of it. It was, like I said, it was a clear-cut case of feedback extortion. So
He couched it pretty well with his message, but I mean, thankfully, if you get somebody reasonable, and from all that I've read and heard lately, eBay for Business on Facebook, which is outsourced, by the way, it's not eBay answering that. The customer service facility or facilitation is not eBay any longer through Facebook. They have a third party that is answering and dealing with those things. That being said, that's probably your best option to try to get a feedback removed at this point, because they are not adhering to the same stringent rules that have been coming down from eBay in general about feedback. So just a little tip, eBay for Business through Facebook is your first line of defense to try to get something removed right now, in my opinion.
Well, and I tried it, and it took 5 minutes, and Mario took care of it for me, and even sent me the link to the policy that it fell under and all of that. So it worked out great for me. And you know what? I definitely did not. I know some people would want to go and reply to the guy's message and say, yeah, I got the feedback removed. But listen, clearly
somebody beat me. I will poke the bear.
But what I always say is think about what is the result that you are looking for. Because if the result you're looking for is that you're going to show him, or you are going to make him see the errors of his ways, never going to happen. It's not going to happen that way. And so
yeah, I don't care.
Okay, but
Petty Betty, table for one.
But to me, there's no satisfaction. First of all, I never, ever, ever want the other person, or the person that I have a problem with, to ever have any inkling or clue that anything in any way bothers me, or has ruffled my feathers, or has got me upset. Because to me, when you freak out on somebody or have in any way do that, it's clear that you have been irritated. So first of all, I like to treat them as if they do not exist. So I never responded to the dude. Secondly, we do have our address in our return labels. So the guy lives in Arizona, close enough by. I mean, just the way he handled it, I'm like, this could be a freaking psycho, and it just doesn't matter. So
that's fair.
Yeah, does not matter. All right.
That's fair.
So let's go ahead and get into our sales highlights.
Did you see, by the way, that Kristen is in our chat? I haven't seen Kristen in our chat in months and months and months. Rural Squirrel. Go scroll up a little bit.
Scroll.
It's right there.
Oh, what? Kristen!
Hello, my friend. I miss you.
Yeah, but we'll be seeing you in August.
That's true. I am going to say that I kind of wish there is a reseller get-together that's happening in Nashville that I'm really bummed that we are not going to be able to attend. Yeah. It is next month, so it happens to be like the day before our cruise.
Yeah, we got too much stuff going on.
Too much. I mean, obviously can't do both. I wish I could go to that one because there's a lot of people going, and it's just a casual get-together. It's not like content or anything like that. It's just like, you know, a get-together thing, kind of like what we're going to with Kristen in August. Yes. August is in Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
So not content, just a, hey, let's get together and hang out. And, you know, some of us are getting an Airbnb, and then there are, you know, other people are finding their own places to stay. And I'm sure that we'll do some, you know, dinner get-togethers and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited. I love doing that. And I especially love doing it in new cities or cities that I don't get to go to very often. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Liz, you missed the beginning of the show. I did force Vicky to show the shoes that she is currently wearing. So you're welcome.
Well, we talked about how Liz threw out her back putting her shoes on this morning, and how we are all old at this point. And this is what happens to us.
She's convalescing in bed, watching us. Chatty Jesse, I have recently noticed that I can search for something on eBay. It doesn't show up. I search the exact same phrase on Google and they pull up active eBay listings. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's I mean, here's the thing, Jesse, like the eBay search has been a well-publicized, well-talked about, beat to death topic for like the last 2 years. It's real bad right something
now,
changed 2 years ago, and it, instead of getting better, it has steadily been getting worse. And that is absolutely affecting people's ability to sell and buy. As a buyer, it sucks on eBay, and we know how to navigate the system. So, you know, I don't know what's going on. I do know that the majority of people in different groups and different teams have been part of these 2 huge layoffs in the last year and a half. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Maybe they're bringing in cheaper coders. I don't know. That's speculation.
I don't know.
Who knows? But
hey, Bill, what's happening?
Hey, Bill. So, you know, it happens. We're doing our best to work around the challenges. I know that there are plenty of people still out there killing it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for you if you were out there and you were able to. I think there used to be a time where it needed to be, you know, you needed to be selling entirely different things or having high demand repeatables and selling on a lower profit margin in order to do the higher gross numbers. And I don't know that that's necessarily the truth anymore. I do think we all need to change how we do things. And I know that Katy and I are doing our best to do that. I also think that if you are not doing some level of live selling, you are missing the boat on that. And I'm guilty of that myself. I've done it and I've tried it and I have not been very successful. But I need to do more of it. In order to just move some product faster and bring in another revenue stream. So I'm going to do it. I keep saying I'm going to do it. I'll get back to it. It's not going to be on Whatnot. I hate Whatnot. I'm sorry. I know that they're a major sponsor of our event. And some people, again, I know are killing it on Whatnot. Yeah. I don't do well on Whatnot. No. But I am in some specialty groups in District that will allow me to sell better. So...
All right, let's go ahead and look at our sales highlights. What do you got?
This was a bins find. I'm just going to say Wilson's Leather is not a brand that I normally pick up by the brand, but sometimes you're going to pick up something fairly inexpensive. And this one was one of them. And it's that really soft, like lamb leather. So Rammy. It's not a great price, but I'm not going to shy away from $5 into $90 either.
Well, so when I was at the bids the other day, I found this gigantic, it might even be like a king size blanket, that we're not sure, it doesn't have a tag on it. But it's like probably a king size.
It feels like San Marcos, but it's like a San Marcos knockoff. I don't believe it's a real San Marcos. But it's
super heavy. It was like 8 pounds, and they just recently kind of changed up how they price the heavy stuff. And so if it's for between 5 and 10 pounds, it's only $2.99. So, I think that helps a little bit. Like if you find like a
and that has changed because they haven't always priced like that.
Yeah, because I was like, this blanket's real heavy because I was going to grab it for her.
I think they just gave you a good price, to be honest with you. I don't think there's a set amount.
Vic, She had the sheet on the
was it
counter,
because it was
and it
linens,
had
maybe?
no, it was on the counter. It was for heavier stuff,
Okay.
and it had the steps.
Because I used to do, it was like $7.99 for 5 to 10 pounds. So
I know, but I was looking at the thing. I think
All
they
right,
were
cool.
having trouble like selling that stuff. Anyway, so I was very excited about that. Mm-hmm. All right. First up for me, not like a crazy sale. I sent an offer out for $35, but if you remember, I got like a bunch of hats from Jesse at Yesterday's Fits, paid $5 a piece for them. And the first few that I sold were selling on all my other platforms. And I was like, I need to freaking sell some of these on eBay, because the thing with eBay, as most of you know, is, if you're listing a whole bunch in a particular category, that will drive sales there. Or if something sells in a particular category, it'll prompt other sales. It's like you want a category to be active. And so I was like, I need to have some hat sales. So I actually have sold like 2 or 3 hats this last week on eBay, as well.
And you paid
as
what,
a couple,
$2 a piece for these?
$5 a piece.
Okay.
But I got a bunch of them, and they're all like really cool vintage hats. Some of them, this one was brand new, but some of them, they all were in really good condition.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment briefly on Kathleen's comment in there about, is it really plush? I am familiar with the Korean mink blanket. It's not as thick as that. I know exactly what you mean, though, and those weigh a flippin' ton. Those do still sell fairly well. You don't get as much money for them as you would for a beater lac or a San Marcos, especially.
This one's awesome, though. It's like a freaking big Black Panther.
It has some issues, though. It has some bleach marks on it.
Please tell the people it's the most amazing blanket I've ever brought home for you.
It's the most amazing blanket you've ever brought home for me. Yes.
Thank you.
Did I repeat that
You're
properly?
welcome. Yep, you sure did.
Okay, thank you.
Anyway, I was very happy with my hat sales, and I finally figured out the right box to ship them in. So it keeps it down to about just under 8 ounces, which is perfect. So not too shabby.
Not bad. Okay, so this was also a bins find. Double knit polyester, not great photos. This was a previous lister, not Crystal, and this isn't even me. Anyway, so 70s pantsuit. They're difficult to photograph anyway, but this is an unbranded. It was probably made from a pattern. It didn't have anything special going on about it, but it definitely had that Western flair with the pointed, with the yoke in the back and in the front. But it is women's. So
Fancy.
it sold for the price you see there. I've had a lot of interest in it, but no offers. Always a lot of watchers. I'm always sending out offers to watchers several times a week on this, and it hadn't sold yet. And then it finally sold at the sale price for $91.
Nice. Michelle, so it had to be a size that was offered by the eBay branded boxes or whatever. So I'm sure there's maybe like a more perfect box out there, but I didn't want to have to pay for them. And so the one that ended up working was the 10 by 8 by 6. So you can get a hat in there, and I don't have to smush it down. Because some of those cool old trucker hats, like they're pretty set shape, and there's not really a lot of you can't if you squish them, then they're going to be all squished. So yeah,
Really? If you squish them, they're going to be squished?
Yeah, they're going to be squished. So 10 by 8 by 6 works pretty well. And I'm able to put like some tissue paper on the bottom and on top. So
Oh, Sandra, you would look awesome in a pantsuit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Although this one, I don't know, you definitely would have to hem for your tiny little legs.
are you calling them short? How rude.
Well,
How rude. All right. Next up for me is...
They are a little short. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure Sandra knows.
I know. All right. So this I wanted to show because I took an offer, or I sent an offer for $50. It's not vintage. I got this at the bins. It's a soft shell jacket, so I probably paid about $3 for it. But I always pick up, I pick up anything that's like related to college or universities and stuff like that. But I especially like finding ones where it's like med school.
Oh yeah, law school,
or
school
something
of
like
dentistry.
that. Yeah, because either somebody who actually went there, or maybe you want to look cool and pretend like you went to medical school. I don't know, whatever. It's not my problem. It's not
I don't care.
need to worry about
I don't care if you want to misrepresent.
But I always pick it up because it's somebody's gonna want it. And so yeah, I sold it for $50, and not a bad little sale. So. Look at that, Sandy Claus.
This guy I had for a minute. I shouldn't say that. I probably got him like 6 months ago. I definitely got him before Christmas.
He's huge.
He's super light though. He only weighs like 3 pounds. So I got him from the bins, but he was perfectly, clean. That was his only issue, was the belt, like the felt had like lifted up from where it was glued or whatever. I probably could have fixed it, but whatever, I didn't bother. But he was so cute. So he's a Hallmark one, but I could not find anything on Hallmark or anywhere like what he represented. He might have been a store display for all I know.
He represents Santa Claus. What is
Shut
there?
up. Like, what if he was like a certain kind of Santa? Like, he's not like, Polar Express. He's not like, you know what I mean? He's just super cute, that cute little lopsided smile. Anyway, he could have been a store display. He was big enough.
Yeah, if you can see, he's 32 inches. You can't tell with the pictures, but he's really big.
I looked him up every way possible, but in any case, he's just really cute. So he sold for the price you see there. I charged a flat $15 shipping fee, and he went to Washington or Colorado.
Oh, nice.
Both of which are like the next zone over, so I love that. He just went into a poly bag, a big poly bag, and he actually only cost $12 to ship. So
Cute.
yeah, I mean, he probably paid $5 for him from the bins. It wasn't very heavy, but he's cute. I totally would have kept him and put him out with my Christmas stuff next year if it wasn't sold.
Yeah. All right, next up for me is this awesome United People of Benetton T-shirt.
That's funny.
I got this, I believe I got this at yesterday's Fits. I think I only paid like maybe $5 for it. I have had it for a little while. But I always pick up anything that's United Colors of Benetton. Is that how you pronounce it? Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of times people underprice it. Mm-hmm. Now, I am in a time when I am going a little lower on my pricing, and I probably would have priced this lower if I was listing this now. But I did sell it for the price you see there, $69.99. It took too long. Like, I don't need to be keeping stuff around for a year plus. It's just ridiculous. And I'm realizing that more and more now. Of course, part of the issue, just real quick, part of the issue is just that once upon a time, I could price stuff. I mean, I now have 3,200 items listed. For a very long time, I was like right at just over 2,000 for a long time, and making way more money than I am now. So it's just times of a change. You got to figure out how.
I'm almost at 5,000 items, and I'm making 40% less than I was 2 years ago.
Yeah, so things are changing. But anyway, $70 for this T-shirt. I was very happy with that.
Okay, I don't know if Jay is in the chat watching this or not, but my local friend here, Jay, had noticed something in my store at some point that she wanted, and she's like, "Hey, when I come for the next meetup, can I get that sheet from you?" Or she likes vintage sheets. I was like, "Yeah, of course." And she's like, "I'll trade you." So she's like, she gave me this cape.
Yeah, this is what she traded, which
this is what she traded.
Ridiculous.
She doesn't like selling clothing. I think that was part of it. So it sat around for a while, and she hadn't had it listed yet. And I actually loved it, and I was going to keep it for myself because it was a really nice made cape cloak type thing. Yeah. But the type of the fabric is scratchy.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep it. So anyway, we traded. I gave her the sheet that she wanted. By the way, if you see another sheet that you'd like, please let me know. I owe you, because that sheet was not worth what this sold for. Anyway, so this sold for the price you see there, $126. And I priced it kind of high because I was like, oh, I'm going to keep it if it doesn't sell.
Right.
But it sold at the sale price. It's very nicely made. It's just, it was too scratchy.
Yeah.
On my skin.
Yeah. All right. Next up, this J. Crew. Now, it's not actually vintage. It's called Vintage Cord. J. Crew Vintage Cord. Probably made within like the last 10 years. This corduroy blazer. I got this at the bins. And so I...
$2.
No, probably more like $3 or $4. Probably about 2 pounds. So probably about close to $4 I paid for it. But I sold it for the price you see there, $97.99. So definitely one of my top sales this week. I didn't have any crazy sales this week.
Me either.
But I was happy, especially now that I'm selling a lot of stuff for lower prices, it is nice to have sprinkled in there some of these like higher priced items. Especially when I find them at the bins, it kind of it validates you, makes you feel like, all right, maybe I know,
wait, I can do this.
Maybe I know what I'm doing. Maybe I know where the treasure is. Anyway, so yeah, sold it for $97.99, and it went to California. So it was like, I love it when it's something that's a little bit bigger and bulkier, and then I'm like, oh, it's going to California. I don't have to worry about it, how much it's going to cost.
Yes, Crystal, we are going to go to the bins this week. We're going to go at least Tuesday, probably Tuesday and Wednesday for open. If you want to come and meet us, I would love to see you, because I miss your face.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to come to the Wizard of Oz thing with us yesterday.
Yeah, thanks for nothing. All right, next up for you. Now that's cute.
Now, I don't always sell baby clothes, but I think most of you guys know I have a really hard time saying no to the super cute stuff, especially if it's at the bins and it's like $1 or less than $1. So this I actually picked up at the bins, and that particular brand was like a little bit of a higher price brand, but it has a fairly low sell-through.
Petit patou.
Petit Bateau.
Petit patou.
Made in France. Just cute. Just cute. I mean, it's cute. I paid like 75 cents for it, right? So it sold for $56. I'm okay with $56 for a little kid's outfit, If I had a baby or a grandbaby, I would be sourcing in vintage all the time for that kid, but I don't have either one of those things.
Yeah. Danica, think kind of like Pokemon Go, only with the Wizard of Oz. It was like a virtual escape room, but outside, and you had to solve clues.
And it was in one specific area.
Yeah, you walked around this area and basically solved clues on your phone.
It was missable.
We had fun, but yeah. Anyway, next up, this isn't like a crazy sale or anything, but guys, I've now sold all 3 of my Southwest Airlines jackets that I picked up at the bins like a couple of weeks ago. They all sold within about a week. I think I sold them for one was $40, then the other one was $48.99, and then this last one $44.09. So they weren't like huge money makers, but just again to reiterate, anything you pick up Southwest, it's gonna sell, or just airline in general, it's gonna sell. As long as you're pricing it appropriately. But yeah.
Oh, and Danny was right. There was math involved. Yeah. I mean, the best part was just the hanging out and talking, and we went to lunch, and that was fine. I mean, the thing itself, meh. I think Danny I'm sure would agree. If you had kids, I think it's fun. Mm-hmm. I think it would be fun to do with kids. I mean, we didn't hate it. It just wasn't. It wasn't extremely challenging, although there were a couple things that were a little challenging, and then it wasn't. There
are parts that we didn't even do just because it was
take a silly photo,
make your craziest face, blah blah. If you had kids with you, yeah, it'd be really fun, and you'd probably be laughing a lot.
The kids would be silly, yeah.
All right, next up.
This came from a hoard of dolls that I still have probably 200 to list plus the clothes. They've just been sitting for months and months and months, years at this point. Actually, I got them in 2020 at some point, I think. It is what it is. Everybody's got a death pile. My death pile are these damn dolls. That's the only thing. So, it took me forever to list these. I probably listed it last month, and it sold for $91. And at this point, this is from a huge 2 SUV carload buyout at an estate sale. I have pennies into this, if anything. I don't, Yeah. So it's everything is pure profit at this point when I finally get them listed.
All right, next up for me is the sweet Hang Loose Hawaii t-shirt. Now, I've had this for way too long, priced way too high, but I did go in lower a lot of prices on my Etsy, but I was going from stuff that was highest priced, and so I got through quite a few pages, but there's definitely a lot that I have that's still priced too high. But this one sold for $62.99, and I believe it definitely went internationally. I think it went to the Netherlands. Which again, I always loved knowing I found this t-shirt, it sold, and some dude in the Netherlands in Amsterdam is going to be wearing this in a couple weeks. So, just funny, but yeah, $62.99. If I was listing this now, I probably would have gone for my drop down price, which would be $48.99, which on sale would be $44.09.
And you would take 35 and above.
Pretty much. Yep.
See, I don't have that kind of exact method to my madness for pricing at all.
But it makes it a lot easier on certain
This is inappropriate. This model has half her boobie hanging out.
Come on, put those things away.
This is the dress that looks like the dress Sandra wore to their prom, because when I first got this, it just came up in my memories yesterday, the day before. This doesn't this look like your dress, Sandra? Anyway, Jessica McClintock, Scott McClintock type of thing. And it sold took forever to sell.
Yes!
You can tell that this did not, it was dead stock with the tag, but you can tell that I took the photos a long time ago because there's no background remover that had been used. And in fact, I took this photo because I can tell how it was done. So it was one that Crystal didn't even do for me. Anyway, finally sold.
Finally sold. Good.
$91.
All right, next up, I just like to find cool luxury brands at the bins. I actually found this one before I found the Gucci one that I sold for $300. I found this like a couple months ago, and similarly to the Gucci one, like when I first reached out and grabbed it, I wasn't like, oh wow, I just found Yves Saint Laurent. How you say it? Yves
Saint Laurent.
Saint Laurent. I wasn't like, oh yeah, I totally found it. I mean, I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a fake or something like that, and I was like, oh, I'll just get it, and like it'll be one of my trade-ins to like, you know,
Whatever.
Buffalo Exchange, or I'll give it to Jesse from yesterday's fits or whatever. But then when I got home and I started looking at it a little more closely and looking online, I'm like, oh, this actually is like legit. So that's why I priced it up, and it sold for $89.99. So I was very happy about that because it's just it's a very nice little shirt, good quality. So that's where I get all my luxury brands, is at the bins.
There you go, as one does. This is actually a very old one. You can tell by both Crystal's mannequin, the velvety mannequin, and the no background remover. I've had this listed for quite a while, and this actually sold last night. So this was one of my Macari sales from the week. Just to say that I was pretty happy that something actually sold on Macari that was super old and for the original price that I had listed for full price, $69. No shipping. Yeah. I know. Allison isn't on here, okay?
Yeah.
So there we go. It sold for $69. It's pretty. I mean, here's the thing. Angora almost always sells. There's a whole Angora fetish out there.
Inappropriate.
Yeah.
All right, next up, guys. I don't know if you watched our last haul video, but this was in it, and guess what? I already sold it. This is Rainbow Polo. I had picked. I hear the wind is like blowing the thing that's on our door.
I know. I got the thing on the
because I'm
front
like,
door.
who's?
It's
I'm
banging.
surprised the dogs aren't freaking out. Yeah, see, Danica, BDT. Anyway, so polos, like 80s polos, vintage polos that have the rainbow stripes on them, they can go for so much crazy money. Now, the ones that are especially popular are if you go and you do a search and then like sort it by highest to lowest price. The ones that sell for a ton are usually like they're dark blue and they have a white collar, but then they have the rainbows going across, and it really doesn't matter a ton what's right here. Although I'm sure I went and looked, and I had an old one that was like IBM, I think, or something, or a BMW. I'm like, oh, I bet that one would have been even more than what I sold it for. But anyway, this sold within just a few days. I saw a lot of interest, but I was holding out until I at least got to where kind of I wanted. I priced it at $150, and I sold it for $110. Somebody we went back and forth a little bit and agreed to do $110.02. But seriously, guys, if you see a polo that's got the rainbowish, any kind of multicolored stripes like this, big money, big money, big money.
That's not really rainbow, but close.
Yeah, but it's the same idea.
Yeah.
Same idea, whatever. Because it can even be the ones where it's like just the different colored tones of the same color or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the rainbow is probably the most popular. But yeah, $110. I paid like $5 for it. It was on the Goodwill Go Out rack. Actually, I think I paid half that because everything was like half off. So I paid like $3 or $4.
Was that the day that the lady gave us all of our stuff for mostly free?
No, that was this. It was that day, but it was Goodwill. And
okay,
it was when they made the
50%
announcement.
off.
Everything was 50% off.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've had this for a very long time, and it's probably one of those things that I would still pick it up, but I probably wouldn't price it this high anymore. But it sold for $60, which it was a full price sale on Poshmark. So it's just a 90s Michael Jackson Family Values tour. I know Katy has sold one like this before. This was a tour that was done. It was done right here in Vegas at the MGM Grand. And yeah, I mean, it's a cute shirt. You know, little baby youngin' Michael Jackson on the front. He was already a grown-ass adult when they did the show, but they used the old pictures, I guess. Anyway, so I can't remember what I paid for this, but it probably came from a bins buy because I'm not a vintage T-shirt buyer like Katy, so I'm sure it was just a few bucks.
All right, next up for me... Man, I sold 10 different things on the old Poshmark.
One
of them,
Flatlay.
Look, I know. By the way, speaking of Flatlay, I was telling Vicky earlier, I've officially am giving up the Flatlay. I think I did it like 3 batches of my photos, but
You don't
like this
it.
one looks okay, but especially like it's really, really, really hard to get the lighting right without shadows on the flat lays, and it's especially on the white, like my white t-shirts. It just looks terrible. The darker stuff looks good, but the light stuff, it's like you can see that it's like super bright right in the middle, and then it's like I'm giving up. I can't go back. I can't go back and have.
You do not like
photos.
the quality of your photos.
I do not.
Get it.
Anyway, if you guys remember, this is the cow t-shirt I got in Washington when we were visiting Lorna about a month ago. Look how cute that cow is playing some baseball there, and I just listed this like last week.
We were actually just there like the 4th. So it hasn't. We've been gone. They were there 3 weeks ago.
So I already got everything listed from there, and I sold it on Poshmark for $50. So super cute.
You crazy.
What'd you get?
Just another black leather jacket. This one wasn't anything special either. It is an older one. It is military flight jacket. You can tell by the tags if you scroll down. And is it going to allow you to show the?
It was showing the pictures on mine, but not yours. Apparently.
Okay, so it sold for the price you see there, $110. That was an offer. I did have it priced a lot higher, but again, taking all reasonable offers at this point. I'm even taking some that I don't think are reasonable. Yeah, Lori, who knew you could actually get full price on Posh? It happens, not often, but it does happen. So yeah, I didn't have that much invested in this one. I do believe this was also a bins purchase. I probably have about $5 or $6 based on the weight is probably around 3 pounds or so, just under 3 pounds. So $110. I'm happy to have it. I have had it for quite a while though.
Yeah.
So it was sitting in my inventory for a long time.
All right. Okay. All right, and then my last one, speaking of getting full price, this is another piece that I got in Washington. I got a ton of Western wear, and this was one of the ones that we're pretty sure it was... like,
altered by some guy's wife.
Yeah, and because it's the Ellie. I was going to say Ellie.
I think it's Ely.
I don't know.
I don't know. I call it Eli Cattleman, but the Nevada town is Ely, I think.
Okay.
That's how they pronounce it.
Anyway, you could see I put in the condition altered to add floral fabric because I'm assuming it was. I mean, it's very well done. But
yeah, they like vented the sleeves in the back
with the fabric
and ribbon. It's weird.
Yeah, it looks cool though. But so I listed it and it sold like that same day for $70. And you know, anybody who sells much vintage wear or vintage Western wear, like this brand isn't like it doesn't bring like top dollar. I mean, people like it, but
yeah,
it's
the brand's like it's like a $30-$40 shirt. I think you did so well because it was original and it had a really big size too.
Yeah, that's true too. All the Western shirts I got are all XL and 2XL, but this one sold fast, and I was like, what? So I was very happy about that. All right, so that is everything. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Poshmark. It's like, for me, it's doing pretty well.
Like everything else, everything's doing well for you.
I could have, hey, how many years did you have me here to cheer you on, support you?
That's true.
Give me my moment.
You can have it.
Anyway.
I'll let you have it.
So, you know, going back to the title of today's show, Maintaining the Momentum. So
before we get into that, I actually wanted to say one thing. I just wanted to give two shout outs if I can.
I'll allow it.
This is a hoodie that I'm wearing that if you can read what that says, insert eye roll. Come on now. We all know about me with my eye rolling. This is from our friend Robin. I just bought a bunch of stuff from her, as did Katie, and she threw this in for me. It's very cute. It's like my colors. I love comfy sweatshirts. I just wanted to say.
True.
She's like, you can throw it away if you don't like it. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm keeping it. I like it. And then the other thing is, this was one of our wedding gifts that came from Casey. You guys know Casey Paris, Rockstar Flipper. And I'm freezing today. I have no idea why, but I'm cold today. So I'm sitting here and doing this show, and I have this wrapped around my waist. So I'm going to turn this so you can see it. This is one of my favorite gifts, and it's just so silly. But this is a blanket that Casey and his fiance Kate sent to us that had says family in the middle. It's got our picture with Britt, the infamous picture. It has a picture with Diane. It has a picture with Casey and I. It has Ripley.
Oh, it's a little baby. Look at her, little teeny tiny baby Ripley. Hold on, I want to show it a bit more.
Baby Ripley. And then it has the famous Fremont Street photo with me and Casey and the guy in the bikini that I share relentlessly for his birthday every year. Anyway, it makes me laugh. We have the weirdest, most eclectic, fantastic reseller family out here, and you guys are part of that. So,
absolutely,
I say we love you, and this was really fun. It makes me laugh, and I use it probably more than most people do.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, I am old. It is a grandma gift. The Afghan with the pictures.
But anyway, speaking of maintaining the momentum, so, there's a couple of things. There's just in general, mine has been paying off. Like, I'm seeing, it's very slow. It's been a very slow climb. But it's been paying off. But to be able to maintain that, even with it being successful, is tough. Like, there was a while there where I had my bank was 100 listings in it. Right now I literally have 9, and I'm taking pictures right now that I have 70 pieces. That's only, now I'm like, oh, that's only 7 days worth, and which would be fine, except we have a bunch of traveling coming up relatively soon. So we're going to Texas, and that's going to be a good 5 days that I need listings banked for. And then we do our cruise, and then we're going to New England. And so it's I am feeling that kind of stress of being I need to have more in there, but then I gotta think, I gotta do more sourcing. And so
we are going to be away for 3 out of 6 weeks between April and May.
Yeah. So I really, 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 really need to be getting more pictures taken and listing and stuff. But also with you and with how your store's been performing, that's also hard to keep on all the stuff you're trying to do.
Oh, it's depressing. It's depressing. I'm going to say there's no question that's depressing. It makes it very hard for me to stay motivated. Never mind pay my damn bills, right? Because that nest egg that I built up a couple of years ago is 75% gone. So I keep having to dip in to pay bills and just maintain, even though we're being very conscious of our spending in a lot of other areas. I'm very conscious of what we're doing and how I'm spending money for inventory and all that kind of thing. So I do have a new lister that's been working for me now for a couple of months, and she's fantastic. She's exactly where I wanted her to be, and she's creates the listings and the photos exactly the way that I want. Crystal helped me train her, and she's been great. She pays a lot of attention to detail. She's fantastic. I have not had this much faith and excitement about having someone working for me since Crystal was working with me. But the reality is that in no way, shape, or form should I be paying someone $300 a week to be doing listings for me right now with this type of income. Yeah. I should not. I should be doing it myself. There is no reason why I should be paying someone. The reality is that I don't want to let her go because she is trained so well and she's doing exactly what I want and need. I cannot maintain the amount of listings that I do just by myself. I absolutely loathe taking pictures and doing listings on clothing. That's why I hired someone 6 years ago, 7 years ago now at this point to do that. You always delegate the portion that you hate. And years ago, that helped me grow my business. Right now, my business, I probably should be doing it all by myself. And the reality is that I would hate my job even more than I do now if I did that. So I am willing to continue paying someone else to do it and take that sacrifice in a market where I'm not making enough money. Because the alternative is that I would lose that and have to start all over again. Yeah. So I'm not willing to lose that and start all over again and just do it all by myself because it would make me hate the job. And the other reality that I'm facing is I can go anywhere and make more money than I'm making online right now with my job experience and my skill set. But I would also hate that. So I am pushing through. I am going to continue to try to make these changes that I'm making. I will absolutely have to bite the bullet and start doing more live selling. I have to find a way to make this work for me still. Again, I can go and work somewhere else. I've joked before that I think I'm feral, I'm unhireable. I'm not. I'd be a hot commodity if I were to go on the market, even at my age. I have my experience and my skill set, and I know what that is in both banking and sales. I could hit the ground running and make well into, high 6 figures very quickly. I know my capabilities, but I would hate every minute of it. I don't want to work for someone else. I want to have the life and the flexibility that I have now.
Yeah. Danica's right, though. You've got cute feet.
Yeah, I really don't, but feet are gross. But I'll get on feetfinder.com too. I don't care.
Here's the thing, though. You've been talking about the live selling for quite a while now, and you do have one particular place where you can try it that you haven't done it yet. because I don't know that that's necessarily the answer, but it might be. So I definitely think you need to try it and see if it'll work. But the other thing I think is the hard goods. And so I know
I do have to filter the hard goods
bins.
back in. That's absolutely true. And Michelle, thank you, Reseller Project. I am a scrapper. I am a hard worker. It's not. It's just been very. I'm sure you're seeing it as well, being almost all clothing seller. That this has been, a really uphill battle these last couple of years, even though I'm doing all the things in Tech's group. I'm doing all the things. And that only helped actually see an increase for me in Q4. This quarter has been very difficult. So,
well, and like I said, it's frustrating because we're both doing it. And it is having such a positive effect on my store and like my numbers.
I think it shows how sporadic you were before.
I think that's part of it. Yes,
because I was not. It hasn't changed. Yes, I have changed how I do things and been more diligent about it. But I've also always been a very consistent lister because I've always had a draft bank.
Right. And so for me though, I am seeing that really positive change. And, and yes, the 10 a day is only my eBay. But at the same time, all those 70 items a week are getting dumped into all of my other stores, and so I'm seeing that result. But it is frustrating because it's like I want us to be both happy and excited about what's happening, and it's like part of it is like obviously I don't want to see you be frustrated, but also like I want to be able to be like fuck yeah, like look what's happening with my store. Look, I'm finally making something work, but I don't really get to do that because like I'm not going to do.
You're not gonna be like, hey, look at how great I'm doing, F you.
Well, and part of it too is it's like we are a couple. We share expenses. We pay, as far as like household and anything that's shared, we put in 50-50. We each pay half, right? And so like, yeah, it feels good that I'm doing this, but at the same time, I'm like, I still depend on her to be able to cover her half. And there's certainly no way I could cover it myself. And so no matter how well I think my work is paying off, it's not paying off like that. So there's still that stress because no matter what, shit's got to get paid for. Mm-hmm. And so far, it's fine, but I have
a lot more expenses than she does that are outside of just our household expenses. Yeah. And I always have, but it's never been a problem that I have a bigger nut to put out every month until, this last year has been difficult.
But it's like, we're not, and I know for Vikki, it's like sometimes she kind of spirals in her head like, oh, I'm all on my own. And
maybe I shouldn't do this anymore.
Well, no, I was going to say,
how do I have a YouTube channel teaching people how to sell and I'm a terrible seller? I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing anymore. Yeah, that's me. Like
no,
anybody that has anxiety.
But also what I was going to say is that when she's having one of those moments, she goes to the absolute most negative spot.
We're going to be homeless.
But no, she's like, she has a hard time seeing like we're in this together. Like I have to remind her a lot of times, like we are actually in this together. It's like no matter what, like I'm not going like see you later. So it just makes it a little bit more difficult. But anyway, we'll see.
And Crystal, you're right. It's working so much harder for less money. I mean, I work 8 to 10 hours a day, and I realize that other people work longer hours. Don't get me wrong, and they do physical labor. And I'm saying this from a position of privilege. I'm well aware of that, but working 8 to 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. When I used to be able to work 4 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week and make way more money than I'm making it's disheartening. And there's no other word for it other than that. It's frustrating. It's disheartening. It's all of those things. But we all got to do what we got to do.
Well, here's the deal though, for this week. So
Sandra's had to pick up some gig work and it's life.
Continue, with our listing goals. I haven't had any problem, keeping on top of that. I do want to I need to build my draft bank back up again. So I need to be focusing more on actually sourcing because what happens is I get these, I'm taking photographs today about like 70 pieces, but my last bunch was like 140. And so in my mind, I'm like 140, got so many pieces, blah, blah. And then I don't do any sourcing for like a good week or two because I'm like, I don't need a...
But you focus on doing the other stuff.
Right, but I need to be sourcing more ahead of time so I'm not like, I don't have those few days where I'm like kind of like, ugh, and then I use up some of my draft bank. So I need to go on that. We're going to go to the bins. Alexis, I don't know if she's still in the chat. We're going to go to the bins Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, and you are going to get you some hard goods.
I am.
And are you going to do, what's your status right now on hard goods? Have you photographed all of them?
Everything I have is photographed except for that doll death bed of creepy dolls.
So do you want to set a specific goal of like hard goods per day? Or
It's hard for me to do that.
Even if it's just like 3 or 4.
Clothing for me is very easy to grab at the bins. Hard goods is sporadic. So I really can't.
I'm talking about listing. You said you have it all photographed.
Listing 5 a day.
For this week, you're
yeah,
doing 5
I'm going
a
to
day.
list 5 articles of 5 items minimum that are not clothing on top of my 15 new listings that I'm doing every day on new clothing items, and then I do anywhere from 10 to 20 relists and reworking and optimizing of older listings. So there's a minimum of 50 new listings going up a day, and sometimes they're, older listings that are reworked, but a minimum of them are 20.
How many older listings do you have that haven't been reworked?
I couldn't tell you that because there's because it's always constantly.
All right.
I'm just going by the oldest.
Okay.
So right now I'm in May of last year doing relisting. So
okay.
Yep. Alexa says she'll block for me so I can beat people down to get the good hard goods.
All right.
Apparently.
Cool.
Thanks. I need a blocker. Anyway, so I'm doing all the things. I know a lot of people have taken on side gig work. Sandra was saying that they've had to get some new some side gig here and there, and it was absolutely an option. I would obviously stop paying other people to work for me before I would go and get another job.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid, but I'm not there yet. I'm still making less money, but as we said, the time I don't want to hate what I do.
Right.
And right now, I still don't hate it, but I was absolutely in burnout mode last year. I'm not feeling burnt out. I'm just feeling frustrated.
Yeah.
So there's a difference in the way that it feels.
It's like, can you just have one really great week to kind of lift you back up again?
I had a really great 2 months. November and December were fantastic for me. And I know that was partly Q4 and obviously mostly Q4 because it died the minute we hit January. And that January and February are generally very good months and they were both terrible.
Yeah.
And March is not any better. So, I've gone from making $10,000 to $12,000 a month on eBay to just over $6,000 a month, and that was in the year.
But yeah, like today, I don't think I've sold anything on eBay today.
No, I have 5 items to ship for $150 since Friday on eBay.
I got 5 things on eBay to ship. I think I freaking hate this app so much. Why can't there be a home on every single freaking page? What's today? The 24th? Yeah, I haven't sold anything. And I agree with you,
Frankie. Loving what you do and even liking what you do is very important because it's soul sucking otherwise. And there's a reason why I have not worked for anyone else since 2009 in any capacity because I do not want to. And you know what? We all do. Life is short. We all do so many things that suck that we have to do in this life. If you're able to find a way to do things that don't suck, that you really enjoy, that you want to do, that's really important. I like being able to take the trips that we take. Most of them are sourcing trips and visiting with friends. They're fun. I don't care. That's still work, but it's fun. I want to be able to do that. I could not do that working for someone else. I love being able to do the volunteer work that I do within the burn community. I cannot do that with a 9-to-5 job. Yep. So all of that is really important to me, and I prioritize that over having a ton of money. I don't need a ton of money. I need enough money to pay my bills, but I don't need a lot of money.
Airline points, companion pass. I mean,
we do all of that for the traveling.
Yeah, it's like we're traveling. Cheaply. We're traveling like a bazillion times again this year, but it's like, I mean, what does it cost you to get a plane ticket? Like what's the $10? $11. It's $11 a ticket. So, so it's like it can seem like we're going hog wild. If we were like paying for those flights and
hotels, which we don't pay a lot for, either we're staying with friends when we travel for the most part, or we get, lately we've been doing the shared Airbnbs with people, which are even cheaper than hotels. So, Lori said part of the problem is sourcing has shifted. I agree with that. I think that sourcing has become more difficult for a lot of people. Knock on wood.
I mean, at this point,
I don't have a problem sourcing.
Me too.
But
I have in the past.
I haven't had a problem in a while. But it's just changed. Everything's changed. We all have to find what works for us. And some people have been able to pivot really well to live selling and doing very well with that. I'm just not, I don't love that. That makes it more difficult. It's not that I'm unwilling to do things, but I'm not a content creator. I don't want to be that. As you guys know, we do just this show and some haul videos here and there. I don't want to be creating content every day to carve out that niche. That's a whole other full-time job that neither one of us enjoy. And I know that that's something that can be done. We're not stupid. We know how to do those things.
Yeah.
You know, a
I'm not willing
lot of our friends do very well doing retail arbitrage and selling on Walmart and Amazon and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I genuinely, everybody do what makes them
It
feel
doesn't
good.
spark joy in my life, you guys.
I would
so-
hate that. I would hate that so much. So
Yeah.
what are you going to do? You just got to
I don't know.
find a way to make what you like work for you.
Yeah. All right. I got pictures to take. I need to take all these pictures today.
Yes, dear.
Because I have to have it done so that I have stuff to list this week.
I have about 5 more listings to get done.
Yeah. And then we got to get ready for Alexis.
I got to go make Alexis
We
his
got to
bed.
like make her bed and stuff. Ugh, whatever.
That's all right. It's Alexis. She'd sleep on the couch with the dogs. She doesn't care. She's like the least maintenance friend that we have, I think.
Anyway, all right, guys. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us, listening to our woes and rants.
Crystal,
and
I hope we see you at the bins on Wednesday. I miss you.
now, if Vicky tries to say we're not going to go on Wednesday, I'll say no. Crystal's going to be there. We told her we were going to be there, so we have to go.
That's true.
yeah.
I will.
All right, so we will see you guys later. We really appreciate you coming and spending time with us.
But again, thank you all very much for contributing to Lorna's GoFundMe. Even if you aren't able to give, the link is down below if you'd like to give again or if you would like to give at some point. And also, if you're not able to give, even sharing it makes more of a difference than you'd think. So many of my friends that do not know Lorna, that contributed or weren't able to contribute, were able to share, and they, GoFundMe's, certain things will touch certain people and you never know who that's going to be.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Yep. All right, guys. Bye.